Okay, so this is not a normal video. I just want to briefly talk about the whole Alta factor and the e-bike situation with Alta Motors going out of business and everything along those lines and all the questions that I've seen in the comments on Instagram. And I just want to clear everything up right now as far as what I know, my opinion, and for the people that enjoy the e-bikes or just want to know more about what's going on. Assuming if you don't like e-bikes, you're probably not going to watch this video, but if you are, let me know in the comments why you don't like e-bikes, why I'm stupid for buying an e-bike. Just tear me apart in the comments. Let me know why I made a terrible decision and why e-bikes are really dumb. I'm happy to hear it. But anyways, everybody can argue in the comments and go back and forth on their opinions. But all that out of the way, let's jump right into talking about what happened, what's going on. This is just some extra footage from the reveal video. Thought it was more entertaining than me just talking in the trunk on the GoPro. So enjoy these extra bonus clips, I guess. If you didn't see the reveal video, I'll leave a link below, but you can go search on the channel. But anyways, all that blabbering out of the way. On October 18th, Alta halted production. They announced on their Instagram, I believe, was the first place. And basically saying that they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough funding to support what they were doing, so they halted the operation and searched for another investor in the company, as I believe that was the timing when Harley pulled from the company to do their own thing with their own Electric Harley. If you haven't seen that, that's what they did. Up until about a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, when the announcement was made that a company, BRP, which is a Canadian company, basically purchased some assets of Alta Motors. I don't think they purchased everything, just a small portion of the development and some of the technology. Don't quote me on it, but to my understanding on what I've read, that's basically what it is. I'll get into it a little bit more here in a minute. If you don't know who BRP is, basically they own Skidoo, Sea-Doo, Can-Am, and a couple other little companies. They basically go in to say that they have no interest in relaunching the production of Alta, that they don't really care to relaunch the e-bikes, which means for the people that have Altas, that's not a good sign. BRP claims this purchase includes certain properties, patents, and limited assets from Alta. So like I said, I don't believe entirely everything they own or they purchase. I could be wrong. If you guys know any other information, let me know in the comments. But from what I've read, it's basically what it means and what they stated in the article. So the people that are unaware of Alta Motors and everything, I believe they only sold roughly 1,000 bikes worldwide, which is very, very few, which is probably the reasoning behind. As if you haven't seen their facility, they had a fairly large production and big crew going on, and I feel like they kind of bit off more than they could chew as far as everything that they had going on before they even could sell any bikes. So if you saw some videos, you can search them on YouTube to see their whole warehouse and whatnot. They had a pretty big crew doing stuff. They had a bunch of extra things going on. They sold, if you guys don't know the bikes they had, obviously they started out with the MX, went to the MXR, then they have 2 or 3 different versions, one being the MX bike and then another being the supermoto option or street legal option that somebody can purchase. So out of their 2 bikes, they only sold 1,000 bikes worldwide, which is crazy to think that over the course of how long they were in production, that 2, 3, 4 years, however long they were making the bikes for and selling them to the public, that they only sold 1,000 bikes. I was unaware of this until a few days ago, a few weeks ago, but yeah, I think that's pretty crazy that they could only sell 1,000 bikes out of all the promotion and people they had riding them. I don't know how that compares to a normal gas bike and the sales from those. I think the sales are kind of decreasing now that the newer bikes are coming out and not as many people are buying new bikes every year. I'd like to pull up the numbers and see how many bikes, say, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda are selling per year compared to the Alta and how many they sold. Obviously, they're going to be more. The gas bikes are going to sell more, but from my understanding, not a lot of guys are going out and buying brand new bikes every year. They're kind of getting a couple of years out of them before they get a new bike, because the market that are buying dirt bikes isn't people that race. It's just a normal guy that just wants to ride on the weekends, have a little fun, maybe bring it to the track. Most of these guys are not racing, and they're not buying bikes every single year. So that's the main market that they're trying to attract, which being Alta. They wouldn't have to necessarily buy a bike for years and years if they buy one bike, since you could get 1,000+ hours out of an Alta. So it would just be new customers, of course, having all the spare parts and stuff they would sell. But it's not like a company that comes out with a new bike every year that's revamped, better and better. Granted, Alta was doing that, but I don't see, if say Alta was continuing production and say 5 years from now, the bike would be a lot better. But I don't see a guy that bought a bike a year beforehand getting another Alta or trading it in, because the whole purpose behind Alta was that you can get a whole ton of hours and have to do minimal maintenance on the thing, and it'll last pretty much forever. And I know that's kind of confusing, but comparing it to a gas bike, say you ride it every single weekend, 2 times a week, it's going to have quite a bit of hours throughout that year, versus the Alta, the hours are irrelevant and you can ride it for 3-4 plus years and it'll have no effect, versus the gas bike will be roached after the year or 2 years, and the Alta will keep going double, triple, quadruple the time without having to replace the bike. Also, the factor with updates on the Alta, where you can just plug it in and have it somewhat similar to the new version as far as firmware and response and being able to change the maps. And if they almost had it on your phone, which they might have had in the works, I'm sure somebody mentioned it, or to be able to pull out your smartphone, pull up the Alta app. So you want to change anything from acceleration to engine braking, the response, the snappiness of the throttle, the way it hits, where the throttle response hits, if you want it to hit halfway, quarter, like everything like that. If they had that integrated into an app where you can change the whole bike within a minute, that would be a game changer. I know you can kind of do it, I guess, on like the Yamahas, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't be the same. It'd be totally different because the electric curve and the way the response would be. And you understand what I'm trying to say. You almost got to consider it as a totally different category. It is a totally different category, but you ride it the same way, but you don't ride it the same way. The possibilities on this are so much greater than a gas bike as far as where you can go, when you could ride. And the majority of people that are buying these bikes probably aren't going to race it. But for myself, the way I plan on riding it and am going to ride it, it's just fine. I can get 3-4 hours out of the bike and still have a little battery to get home or ride wherever, plug it back in, and you're good to go. So for what I want to do, I just want to go places that I couldn't go before, venture around, and you can almost, it's a whole different riding experience. You can hear what's going on. You can hear the tires. You can hear the ground and it's just, if you haven't experienced it, it's so hard to explain to somebody until they actually try it. And if somebody hasn't tried it, they're probably hating on it. I know there's a select few that they haven't had the chance to try it. But for the people that are instantly hating on them, they're just not educated. They don't understand. And it's not replacing the gas bikes. It's just an added bonus. Like, I would never sell all my gas bikes just for an e-bike. I got a little bit off topic, but basically, what does this mean for Alta? What's going to go on? What do I assume will happen? Basically, it kind of means that anybody that has purchased an Alta won't be able to get parts. No more warranty if they had a warranty. And you really are kind of screwed. So that's good. I know I've seen it's not happening anymore, but on eBay, I was browsing eBay. Somebody posted it. There was quite a few parts for sale, from the subframe, the rear fender, some plastic pieces, the stuff, simple parts, no like electronics, but all the plastics were for sale on eBay, going for a ridiculous price. Let's just say like a rear fender, I think I saw was, I didn't see the finished bidding, but when I happened to look at it, it was at about $130, $140. I'm sure it went up from there. I still had like a day to go when I looked. The subframe was at about $280, which is, I guess it's kind of the same as like a normal subframe, but still. What else? Like small plastic pieces, the side panels were going for $100. What else? Like the little back number plates, $60-$70 per side. Like, I'm hopefully getting a spare rear fender, because that is the one thing I feel would break from somebody else riding it, getting a handful and looping it out. So I at least want to have a spare rear fender just in case. But as far as everything else, I have a few parts that I was able to buy a couple months ago, as far as some electronic stuff like the gear selector, the mode selector, a spare rear brake pedal just in case that were to break. I don't know, you never know, and a few other little electrical parts. So I do have a few before the prices kind of skyrocketed. Granted, they were still expensive, but I'm sure they would be like triple the price. BRP is just holding the properties of Alta for their own use. However that may be in the long run, who knows? And they just bought it so nobody else can use the technology, and they just own the rights to it. So Who knows if BRP in the future will come out with electric skidoo like snowmobiles, electric sea-doos. Who knows? You never know. But they might come out with their own electric motorcycle in the future, which probably is very unlikely. But like I said, they have the rights to a portion of what was going on with Alta. Like I said, I don't think they entirely own everything, but it's just making it so nobody else can do it. So things are not good. I know, I guess touching on the subject of my opinion on how I feel what's going on, obviously, like, it's not good. I'm not happy that I'm not able to get spare parts, but it is what it is. I was unaware of this when I purchased the bike, but yeah, it's kind of crappy for the people that might have bought in a brand new one, and then the next day they're like, yup, see ya, you won't be able to get any parts. Granted, I bought mine used and it wasn't as expensive as a brand new one. With the amount of hours guys are getting out of them, it should last. I don't want to jinx myself. I should be okay, but who knows? Anything could fail. The battery could fail. The main control unit could fail. I don't know, but it is what it is at this point, and I'm going to continue riding it, having fun on it. But yeah, there's definitely a market for it. Granted, that might not have been the best time right now. In a few years, people might be more game to have an e-bike. Who knows? Definitely don't hesitate to let me know in the comments what you think, your opinion on what's going on. If you own an e-bike, let me know what you think and your opinion on what you're going to do and your overall thoughts on what's going on. So other than that, kind of covers all the information I had written down here. I know it was kind of a boring video, but for the people that care and wanted to know, hopefully this cleared up some of your questions. But yeah, I'm going to get on the CR125 build, go work on that today, and hopefully get another build series video out on Wednesday. If you're new, subscribe, like. If you have any Alta friends, share this video with them, let them know. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.